I'm here taking your comments in case you have. Today we're going to be doing question and answer session. Just let me know if you can see me, if you can watch me. All right. So in case you have any inquiries, do well to let me know. So this is going to be the first live section of Property Matters. I'm going to be talking more about sandfield or waterlogged property here in Lagos, Nigeria. And I'll be taking questions and inquiries from real estate investors. So, in case you are joining us on this live session, welcome. And I want to quickly use this opportunity to respond to everybody. So, I'm live here now to answer all questions, every inquiry. So, today I'm going to be talking basically if you have gotten or if you have bought a waterlogged property here in Lagos, Nigeria. And I'm also going to be talking about three important things you need to do if you have bought waterlogged property. And I will also go further to explain what it takes to sandfill um, a 300 square meter plot of land, a 500 square meter. And of course, from that, you can also get the calculation of 1,000 square meters. So what is that are not dry? These are properties that requires extra number of sand before it can become durable. And a lot of people have been asking me, um, will you going to um, take the PPP from there? All right, so we're going to be looking at that very quickly. Why must we do waterlogged property? Um, what exactly are the cost implications? Now, the reason why I'm making this video basically is due to the fact that a whole lot of real estate investors, that 70% of real estate developers that are selling waterlogged properties don't have, the intention, okay, of doing a proper sand filling. And that is why I'm going to be talking extensively. We decided to do a sand filling for a real estate investor based in of course she was in the country a few weeks back before she relocated, and she gave us the task of helping us to sand fill. Now you must understand basically that when you're buying properties in Lagos, Nigeria, that are not always visible, and sometimes I've seen several instances of developers making promises sometimes that is very very difficult for them to keep or to comply. And the cost of building materials and of course real estate investment has made waterlogged almost impossible for real estate developers to sand fill. Although I have met some of them who are always sincere, and these guys will tell you that some of the properties they are selling, they don't. It is very important that when you are buying, okay, you don't have the resources, to sand fill a property. It is very important that you let such property go, because the cost of sand filling right now, there was a particular time where we were to sand fill Ethereum, and the company gave us an estimate of something around 9 million naira, and I was like, wow, this is a 300 square meter. And by the time we were able to go with my own personal engineer and we did the cost implication, we found out that the cost of sand filling minus workmanship, and we found out that to sand fill a 300 square meter, now this is an estimate of last month, like a month ago. Now, when you're buying waterlogged property, I know very well that many of us have the desire to reside on the island. Many of us have the desire in different place. More importantly, where the rental market is very profitable. And some of those things you need to understand basically is that if you're buying such properties, you need to understand the concept of development and developers' intention. Now, if you are buying waterlogged property in this tenure, this present time, what is to create access road to your plot of land. Now, you need to understand. Now, when they have created the access route to your plot of land, what happens basically is that you will be the one to stand by yourself, and sometimes it is not always visible. Many people don't understand that this is how most of these things are happening now, so that there won't be cases of unwanted surprises and issues in the future. When I was making the video about waterlogged property, said very well that provided the fact you have the capacity, you have the financial energy, okay, to do that, waterlogged property is for you. And I was saying it also in that video that the cost of sand filling is dependent, okay, on the depth of the water. Now, there are some body or the water is very may vary depending on the cost. So am I saying waterlogged properties are not good? Please, I don't want to be misquoted. All I'm saying is that don't have the financial and feel the land up to the point where you can start building. I'll advise you buy from or with a developer that has the intention, okay, of sand filling that plot of land for you, so that you'll be able to use your property wanted. Now, okay, I got a question from some people, and I'll be addressing such questions. Now, the very first question I got was due to the fact that a real estate investor was asking, or will I advise a situation whereby people can go into land banking, because I said something about land banking. Now, let me quickly explain the basic concept of land banking, so that you can have an accurate understanding of what it entails. Now, land banking basically investments, and over time I've explained to real estate investors that if you want to go or do a good land banking system, there are three important things you need to put into consideration. Now, and a lot of people have fall victims into the duped. Now, I also need to make these clarifications that if land banking in Lagos, you need to understand the Lagos State Master Plan for that location. Now, due to the fact that a lot of people have bought properties without understanding the to you, majority of them are not always okay, are not also familiar with the master plan. There have been issues of people encroaching on lands that ought not to be encroached upon. So important things you should put into basically is the location. Now, talking about the location is very important, and when you understand the location, then you understand the status of the land. For instance, in Lagos State, for okay, for different purposes, and if you don't understand those purposes, you may buy and your property purchase may be contradicting what government wants to do. So you need to understand the the land, the zoning regulation for that, for commercial, is this zone for art, is this zone for tourism, is this zone for building like hospitals and some other things. And one of the ways you can unravel these basically is to work, okay, with a profitable of course an experienced realtor who can help you do the fine report. Then the next thing basically is that as long as Lagos State is concerned, you also want to pay attention to the developer's intention of selling. Now, when we talk about developer's intention, now developer intention is subdivided into different parts. Now, what exactly do I mean by that? Now, have the intention to perfect the title. Now, I know very well that you can buy a land, leave it for 10 years, leave it for 20 years, leave it for 30 years. In as much as fact that you don't have the intention to do anything, you can leave it. That is not a case with Lagos State government. Now you need to understand party regulation law for prohibits a scenario or a circumstance where you don't take total possession of the property. I know a lot of people are watching me and they don't understand some of these things, and that is why I'm making this implication. Of course, I say implication, part of making this video so that I can enlighten you. Now, what I you mostly, recommend for real estate investors basically is that if you want to invest in real estate, you want to land bank, it is very important that you work with a developer that has to title document. Now, a lot of people don't understand that in the future, wherever there is a case or a court case on that issue, government pays attention to the person whose name, okay, is on the person whose name that is on the title as the actual owner. So it does not matter who you are from, provided the fact that your name or the title is not registered in your name with Lagos State government, it becomes sometimes extremely difficult for you to prove your ownership of that property. And that is why it is very important this in detail so that you can have an accurate understanding of this. So if you're land banking in Lagos, developer that has the intention of perfecting the title. And finally, you should also buy from a developer to be land banking in Lagos, Nigeria. What the concept or the belief or the general assertion that is mostly practiced in Lagos is due to the fact that some of these guys have this concept that since you are not going to use the land almost immediately, they suspend meaningful development for that property. And you need to understand that when they give you an actual value on the property, the value is dependent on three major things, and I'm going to write out of your property is the title. The next thing that determines the value of your property is the location, and the next thing or the final thing that also determines the value of your property is the what? Is the development or the structures that are. If anybody is giving you a figure that the property you bought is what this, and your property does not pass through those three things: number one, documentation; number two, location; and number three, infrastructure, just know that the value they are giving you is not realistic. Critically to some of these things so that you will not be making a costly investment mistake. Okay, so I also have another question here. The thing basically is that in my live section, there were some people, some real estate investors that I bought a land from a real estate company. Sorry, I'm reading it out, and I have not been allocated. All attempts to reach them ended up in futility. Mr. Adejare, what should I do? Okay, in situations like this, when you are and before that, when you are buying real estate in Lagos, Nigeria, there are three important things you must pay attention to, and one such of those important things is the brand. The brand is very, very important. Now, in that, now the first thing that makes a quality brand is what is history in the market. Now, talking about the history, how many years have this company said that? What is their visions and goals? These things are very important. How many projects have they done successfully? Now, if you are going into an off-plan project, you may also want to include their functional estates
and what are, okay, the feedback of their investors. If you are buying property, you are not just buying the land, neither are you buying the house. What you're buying is the brand. If the brand does not have that track record that can justify what they've done in time past, you also want to pay attention to that. If that The reason why I always emphasize on security basically is that at the moment, okay, the industry is not properly, regulated by government, and the reason for this, and this is a justification to what not to do, and that is why I've emphasized with time to outnumber that it is very important that you pay adequate attention to all these things. Now, if you have bought the property, and you have not been allocated, there are two. Is that you need to get in contact with your realtor and let him or she find out what is actually going on. Now, in situations whereby there've been cases of delay, a whole lot of factors may be responsible. Okay, a whole lot of factors be actively in charge. Let him find out what is going on. And what does your realtor needs to find out? The first thing that your realtor needs to find out is to confirm if the company is still in existence, because I've witnessed several instances of properties to people, and they are of the same. Nobody can tell of give details of what is actually going on. Now, if the company is existing, it is very important that you need to find out if disputes on factor in the cases of disputes. Now, dispute between landowners, family, and the like. So your realtor wants to find out if there are disputes, and the next thing your realtor also want to find out basically is if there are issues of oversell. Explain what over when people are buying real estate. There are some um, different instances where some real estate development company, if they've not oversold, and some of those things. Now, another thing you also want to confirm is from your own side if you are not defaulting. Now, I've had to handle several cases of payment default, and I can stay here without any fear of contradictions that, well, some real estate investors are into their different scenario of what delayed allocation. So to you, Mr. Tosin, who raised that question, endeavor that your realtor pay attention to this. It is very, very important. All right, so we are still on the live session of Property Matters. I have numerous us. Thank you very much for joining us online. I'm very, very happy to have you guys here. Thank you so much. God bless you. And I'll be taking questions before I round up. I'll be taking questions. And like I said initially, we'll be having these as often as possible. We're having this as often as possible to drop your questions. Let me know. So I'll be taking questions. I'm not going to spend more time on this live, and this is due to the fact that I want to try as much as I can, okay, to respond to all the inquiries that I have here. So do I have, if you have questions, kindly drop it. We only have just a few minutes here on this live session so that we can adequately address it. Okay. All right. Mr. Kolapo from Germany has asked a question, so I'll be responding to that. So Mr. Kolapo said, "I bought a house, an off-plan project from a particular real estate company." Okay, Mr. Kolapo actually mentioned the name of the real estate company. Now, because of our own integrity and of course security, I will not property is somewhere around Betu area of Lekki, and according to Mr. Kolapo, he bought that property 2020. Until date, he has not been allocated. So he's asking me, what should you do? Okay, wow. um, how should we address this? There are numerous reasons that may result to that, because when I make statements like this, I've had several instances where I've been misquoted. So I'm going to quickly explain that in a jiffy, so that a lot of people can focus and understand what it is. So, Mr. Kolapo, what you need to do basically is that it is not all real estate issues that can be solved amicably. I know I'm online. Although I'm not I'm not encouraging violence, okay? No, I'm not encouraging. What I'm saying basically is that from 2020 to 2024, this is like a 4 year gap. Also, Mr. Kolapo, I'm also going to connect you with some of our legal team. Since you have paid in 2020, and you have not been allocated, I believe you need a good lawyer that will help you attend to these. Numerous factors can be contributing to this, but because of the fact that we are not carried out in this transaction, so it will not be advisable to comment further. But you can send me a message. You can private chat me, so I'll look at what you can do. And of course, our lawyers will be in a better position to settle this amicably. So that is it. So I won't go beyond that. Now, I'm also talked about. So the final thing we'll be discussing on today's live session basically is how to spot um, one of the dangers of investing money. Now, I made a video yesterday where I was explaining to real estate investors that a lot of people will be angry, a lot of people will be surprised, and it is quite unfortunate that real estate investors will get to find out that what they bought was a need. Now, when it comes to property, let's quickly explain to our investors so that they can, have an accurate understanding of how investment is being done in Lagos, Nigeria. Now, when a real estate development companies have acquired a property, okay, some certain things that the developer does to make sure that people help him publicize his property. Now, the first thing they do basically is that they get agents and marketers sing and make that people all over the world will be fully aware of the property. There have been instances whereby some of them has gone as far, hiring undergraduates, a lot of people, just to make the video of go viral. Furthermore, they promise other important things, make jingles, and um, ignite people's interest concerning that property. Now, the first thing you want to understand basically is that for the fact that the property adverts are mean it will suit your real estate investment need. I have a video where I was talking extensively on what I ordered was what was different from what I got. And that is going to be the case of several investors by the time they are back, was different from what they got. Now, what exactly do I mean by that? Investor, you need to understand that when you are going into the Lagos State real estate market, a whole lot of things will attract you. Number one, the advert, the jingles, the publicity. And for the fact that does not mean that it is very important that if you are choosing or working with a realtor, you need to work with a realtor that is vastly experienced. Now, when I talk about vastly experienced, we're talking about understands what you need. Now, and this is where the concept of cash flows come into play. Now, there was a particular time in my career that I made a decision that I will never offer property of listings of that will not add value in either in cash real estate investors. And the reason why I made this decision was due to the fact that we've worked with different real estate developers who has promised heaven and earth until date nothing has been done. We were able also to do what? To cite any case of impending danger whenever we are actively involved in the Lagos State real estate market. So, what should you focus on? Now, the first thing I think you should do, real estate investor, a list of what you want to achieve as far as acquiring property is concerned. Now, when I talk about having a list of what you want to achieve, though a lot of people have misunderstood this. Now, if you don't have that list, if you don't create a look like these things are going to guide you on what to buy and what to avoid. Now, for instance, a good real estate investment portfolio will cut across different things. And when I talk about different things, we're talking about a scenario of what I've had so far. This is what I need to make money, and this is what I need to retire. Because you see, a lot of people are purchasing property in Lagos, Nigeria, with the hope that their property will give them returns. But I found out that a lot of people ended up being disappointed because what they bought was different from what they actually needed. So this is where the concept. So how do you identify, or how can you avoid being deceived? Number one, don't be carried out by the jingles and the ad, because everybody's trying to call attention. So it is very, very important that people will to have a list of what you want to achieve. Like, for instance, if you want to own farmlands, look at places that are within, okay, your budget, and don't default payment. The reason why I'm saying this basically is due to the fact that there have been cases of default payment, and real estate investors trying, or sorry, real estate development company trying to lease what you as your real estate investor have paid them. So you want to look at that. Then finally, work with a professional. Now, when we talk about working with a professional, the word professional has been most real estate investors, perhaps those in the diaspora, believe that every real estate person they talk to online are the same. And this is the notion I'll be correcting as I round up this Property Matters live session here on YouTube. Now, no two real estate. The reason why I've said this basically is that a lot of people have been asking me, how do you know some of these things? How can you give, why are you giving this valuable information? Number one, the reason why I'm giving this valuable information basically is that I don't want you to lose your investment. I've seen how you have tirelessly to earn those money, and I understand what it means to lose your added investment. That's the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, so that I can give you all the information that will help you make a good investment decision. Number two, I have worked for three different real estate companies as a staff, and of course, and also as one of the key decision makers for these real estate companies. I've seen a lot. So there's something, so you cannot compare my years of experience, my years of exposure, what I know about documentation, what I know about building, the information I have for someone, okay, who is just coming newly into the industry. Now, the reason why you are making wrong investment decision is because of the fact that whoever you may be using as your realtor cannot operate beyond their level of knowledge. So you cannot compare an experienced real estate professional who may not be aware of some of this manipulation, some of these warning dangers and the like. So as I round off today's section, I want you to understand basically that these are the important things. And before I go, I'll be talking about a cash flow project that is going on at Oregun Ikeja, and the name of that cash flow is what we call the Ultra Residence. Oregun Ikeja is very close to the Ikeja City Mall, the Christ Embassy, biggest headquarter. Then we also have the computer village and the likes. And the reason why I'm talking about this project basically is that this is the first of its kind. Now, if you should follow the concept of how real estate is being done in Lagos, Nigeria, you would see that what people are just doing is that they are just buying real estate and they're selling. But what the developer of apartments and converting it to five-star hotels, which is the first of its kind. Now, the projection is that at the end of this project, the project is still ongoing, it's an off plan. The projection is that in 8 years, it will be completed. So there is no issue about this. How can I be so sure it will be completed? Now they've done this at Crestview in Surulere. They've done it at Crestview in Ilupeju. They also have another project that is almost completed in Lekki. So these guys have the track record of running successful off plan and of course successful shortlets. Now the reason why Ikeja is going to be one of its kind is due to the fact that these guys will manage your shortlets, and the projection is to remit on a monthly basis 1 million. Now the question is, can they do it? They've done it successfully at Surulere. Presently, I have the records of their payments, how they've remitted money to real estate investors. Now, if you are tired of just buying properties and you're looking at such properties and your property is not generating cash flow, that is a very good investment that you can look into. I was talking about investing in cash flow. That is an investment that you can do. Presently, they have one bedroom for 50 million, 18-month payment plan at Oregun Ikeja. So this is a project that you can key in. Now that means as from 2026, when this project will be completed, you'll be earning rental income. Now there is no real estate development apart from Crestview that have done this of this. Instead of using millions to tie down acres that will not give you everything, and that may not even give you something meaningful even after some months. So there are several other um, projects that you can also key in that is very, very profitable. So that is something that I will be calling your attention to. So my next live session, I'm going to be talking about other important issues. This is a question and answer. So we'll be rounding this up very soon. If you're online and you want to drop a question, please let me check if there are questions. You can drop your questions now. I will attend to them as soon as possible. Once again, I want to say a very big thank you to everybody that joined us on today's live. I really appreciate your time, and of course, I will be doing this more often so that I can, a lot of you have been commenting on a lot of my videos I've been dropping that they want to have a one-on-one interaction with me. And of course, if you, even if that after this section, um, I've not been able to attend to some of your questions, you can also drop them here, and I will attend to them. And of course, I to understand about real estate investment in Lagos, Nigeria. So we've talked about sand filling. We've talked about things that actually, affect, the value of a property. And I've talked extensively on pitch holes. And of course, some of you have questions. So I'll be going off in 2 minutes time. But if I have questions before that, I will quickly respond. Okay. Let me know if you can hear me. If I'm audible, just indicate, and then we'll work and of course improve our sound later. Okay, so I want to believe that people following us today I've totally understood everything I've been talking about for the past 37 minutes. So once again, I want to say a very, very big thank you to everybody that has joined us today on online. And I will see you by next week. Thank you very much. God bless you. Do well to subscribe to our channel. Tell your friends and families about us. Of course, help us trumpet the good work we're doing here. And I'll see you guys some other time. Thank you. God bless you. Bye for now.